Hello and welcome to Twickenham. It is a special day in the amateur rugby calendar. The Beaumont Division 1 final, a repeat of the 2016 final as Cornwall take on Cheshire. Well, Cornwall, it is 6 finals in 7 years. Ben Hilton captains the side from second row. In 2013, he spoke about creating a legacy in 6 finals in 7 years. Some might say mission accomplished. Matt Shepherd has been a man of the match in a county final at scrum half. Today he starts at 15. Alex Ducker has scored in every county round this season, but the real story is Sam Stevens, who starts in a county final for Cornwall exactly 50 years after his father did exactly the same. For Cheshire, it is a return to the big time for the first time since 2016, when they faced the same opposition. With the wind in his sails, Tom Morton at 10 could end today as the top scorer in the competition. 9 of the starting 15 ply their trade at Caldy, including 6 in the pack. Skipper Josiah Dixon celebrates his 11th year as a senior county player, and Simon Wright is looking to guide them to their first county championship since 1998. Replacements: Matt Ballard, Craig Williams, George Jones, Grant Randleston, Taron Peacock, Dean Bonds and Seti Ramakita. For Cornwall, Brendan Berry, Daniel Matthews, Tom Sanders, David Jones, Josh Brown, Chris Crowley and Christopher Speed. For Cheshire will undoubtedly have a huge part to play, and the atmosphere building nicely. This actually the 4th match here at Twickenham today. We began with the Jill Burns Women's County Cup final earlier. We've had 2 thrillers between England and the Barbarians, and Trelawney's Army have stayed in force. They arrived when the sun was barely in the sky. It's been a long journey for many of them, but they are out in force. They always create an incredible atmosphere, of course. They weren't here last year, but they really have been a dominant force in county rugby in the south. Moments away from kickoff, moments away from welcoming the teams, and now it gives me great pleasure to welcome former Surrey captain and England Counties tourist Ian Kench, who'll be joining us throughout this match for his expert insight. It's been a fantastic day so far. Great to welcome you back, Kenchy. I bet you're looking forward to this one.
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. We've got 2 teams here packed full of experience, whether it be Premiership or previous England Counties experience, and the stage is set for it to be an absolute belter.
Well, I spoke about the crowd earlier. They have pretty much filled that bottom tier just above the tunnel the players are going to come out of. As a Surrey player, you've faced Cornwall yourself, and that crowd can make a huge difference.
Yeah, the Cornish fans, they pride themselves on the rugby, particularly county rugby, maybe more so than club rugby. I can remember playing down in Camborne in 2016, and it was an absolute sellout, more than what I've seen potentially at some Cornish Pirates games. So it's great to see them up here, and I'm sure they'll be in full voice today. Well,
they will be in full voice. There is the Cornish flag blowing in the breeze here at Twickenham. It started off as a glorious sunny day. It's still incredibly warm here, but the clouds have come over. It is perfect conditions for a huge match between 2 great counties. It's Cornwall versus Cheshire, the Beaumont Division 1 final. Well, it's been a wait for victory for both of these sides, one a lot longer than the other. Cornwall's last victory was in 2016. It was a 35-13 victory against Cheshire, and Cheshire's last victory, as I mentioned before, was in 1998. It was 21-14. Who was it against? You guessed it, Cornwall. Just looking down the squads as well. Plenty of experience in both sides. There's Cornwall. Sam Stevens there wearing number 7. Incredibly proud moment for him and his family, 50 years after his father. Players to look out for: Alex Ducker, as I said, he scored in every round, a try machine. Brad Howe at number 8, he's got 3 tries in 3 games this term. As for Cheshire, a huge Caldy contingent, not just that 9 in the starting 15, but 2 on the bench as well. It's not a first experience at Twickenham for all of them. Nick Alsop at 9. He plays his club rugby for Sandbach these days, but played for Sandbach School in a Daily Mail final 9 years ago. Phil Davies, the man in pink, is going to take charge of this one. And we are underway. 80 minutes. The winner of this one will be crowned the Bill Beaumont County Cup champion. Long and deep with the first kick-off of the match. And Cheshire already called into action.
We spoke about the man in the middle, but he's going to play a pivotal role today, Dave. With he's vastly experienced in National 1 and is often on the touchline in the Championship. So we saw in the women's game she had a really big role in the middle, and hopefully Phil Davies will have an equally good game today.
Yeah, Catherine Ritchie had a great game earlier on, and that's a good start from Cheshire. Rob Ellaway, vastly experienced hooker, finding his man Jack Alton at scrum half. Just takes a step back and lets the forwards do the donkey work, which they do very well, marching towards the line. 15 metres made. And it is a first touch for Alton now. Cheshire, from a distance, the kit looks grey, but it's thin blue and white hoops. And they're being stretched early here. Opening exchanges, and it's advantage Cornwall, but we do expect this game to ebb and flow. Little pick and go there from Alton, but Cheshire are alert to it. There's Ed Pascoe, flanker in the blue scrum cap, first real carry for him. Oh, flat ball shoots forward, and now Cheshire can counter-attack. Just a dart there through the first line of defence. And there is Alsop with the box kick. Matt Shepherd nearly overran it. It was a good take over the shoulder in the end. Good early defensive pressure from Cheshire to force Cornwall back to the halfway line. And one of the hallmarks of the women's final earlier was the defensive intensity. And it could be attacking intensity here. Matt Shepherd threatening to go through, and the penalty advantage coming too, so a free shot at it here for Cornwall. We're going to see boot to ball, not this time. Goes forward off Jack Simmons, and we'll go back. As I was briefly alluding to there, the line speed that we've seen in these county matches already today has really set the tone, and it's looking like we're going to see a similar pattern here. No one ready to take a backward step in these opening exchanges.
Yeah, the first 5 minutes is always important in the game, and some of the line speed, some of the hits going in are trying to sort of just settle a few scores. Let's let that settle down, and then we'll see which attack comes out with some of the best attacking intent. The battle of the hookers today is going to be crucial. We've got two really experienced characters in Neil Briggs and Rob Ellaway. Both have seen first-class service with Gloucester and with Sale in Leicester. So I think at the set piece, that's going to be a really interesting battle between those two.
Here's one of those niche stats you don't get very often as well. Both hookers with German heritage.
Rob's capped, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got two German caps, and Neil Briggs was born in Germany.
That's something you'll see every day.
There's Fraser Honey. Cornwall standoff. Plies his trade at Plymouth Albion. Welsh Exiles sevens player. Comfortable at 15 as well. That's another great delivery there from Ellaway, and now Cornwall can come forward once again. 3 minutes gone. Their second visit into the opponent's 22, and Cheshire having to make those one-up tackles. They've turned that one over. Cheshire, massive play, and Nick Alsop sets himself to box kick some relief again. Pulls Nathan Rushton in for a bit of support. There's a bit of a swirling breeze around Twickenham. Our commentary position is exactly the same as the main camera position, and it feels as though the wind is blowing towards us, but looking up at the flags away to our right, they appear to be blown in the opposite direction. So these box kicks that Allsop's sending up, real challenges for Matt Shepherd in these early stages.
He's going to be crucial today, a serious performer for England counties in past tours. Not touring this year due to getting married next week, but a really experienced player, as you alluded to, with man and match performances, and he's started the game well so far for Cornwall.
Cornwall go with his space, and there is Matt Shepherd spotting a gap in behind Sam Stelmacek, but just overcooking that one. Kick was probably the right decision. It was a little bit hot off the right boot of the Cornwall 15.
How many push, captain? 6 man. Cornwall on the line.
Neil Briggs, who's been selected for the England Counties Tour in the coming weeks, first chance at the line out, and hits his man.
There's Morton. Put some width on it. Jack Morehouse, a real try threat himself. Sale FC's record try scorer. And there is Briggs crashing Cheshire up over halfway. A one-handed take there from Rushton. Gerrard, one of the Caldy contingent. Everyone from the second row backwards in the Cheshire pack is from Caldy. And there's Barlow. First time Cheshire have really gone through the phases, so just help them settle down. 6 minutes gone on, and that's a big carry from the big back rower. It's Barlow. He's got his hands on the ball a few times in quick succession. You've seen a few of the big men starting to hang out for Cheshire, looking to put some dents in that Cornwall defensive line, but as it stands, they're getting no change. Allsop, little dink into the 22. Line out on the far side.
Good start there for the attack for Cheshire. Harrison Crowe in particular, a really big ball carrier for Caldy. I know he's had his injury issues this year, and some said that if he was fit all year that they might have managed to avoid the drop, so a key player to watch out for today, and when he gets his hands on the ball, those big carries are going to be quite telling.
7 minutes gone. Cornwall defending their own 22. A bit of miscommunication at the line out.
Set piece, as always, is going to be absolutely crucial today, and the wind really is picking up, so line out, they need to simplify and make sure they're getting through that process and securing their own ball. This will be interesting to see at scrum time as well. It will be a ferocious battle. I know Derek Salisbury, the Caldy tighthead, is renowned for his scrummaging, so this should be a really good battle between the two packs here.
And he's packing down against Dan Jobb. Played every minute of Cornwall's campaign so far. Plays his club rugby at Lanna, and this season became the first ever county cap from Lanna.
Cornwall do boast Craig Williams on the bench, who is again another experienced English counties tourist and is renowned for his scrummage, so they do have backup there should they need it.
Bind. Set. Slip this side, but they both got good long binds.
Well, the voice you can hear is the referee's assistant. We have the benefit of not just Phil Davis, but his assistants Paul Kimber and Mark Summerhays as well. Over on the far side, taking a good look at the props that Phil Davies can't see. The two props slipped there, but just take this moment to compliment the ground staff here at Twickenham. This is the 4th game on this pitch today, and of course the Premiership final yesterday. Given the punishment it's taken, the pitch looks in remarkable condition.
Yeah, we just took a little walk down there and looked at it, and it's even better when you're sort of right next to it. It is remarkable how well it's held up, and I'm sure the groundsmen are looking forward to getting back out there at the end of today and getting it back up to exactly the shape that they would expect it to be in.
Approaching 10 minutes here, still Cornwall 0, Cheshire 0. No opportunities to score really. Both teams with visits to their opponents' 22. But at the moment, defence is on top. Discipline's been very good from both sides though, no silly penalties as yet. As we'd expect at this level. More good line-out ball. There's Rushton, the big man with the ball at the back, just waiting for his time, eyes up. The men in front of him doing all the hard work, taking Cheshire up to halfway. Now a change of tack. Allsop. A bit of space here for Cheshire, it's a good pass as well. And now they can stretch their legs, they've got a 2-on-1. Shepherd calls for marking Hardman and misses the tackle. Hardman goes through a few. Suggestion of a high tackle, but referee deciding he was already on his way down. Here's Morton. Short ball finds Jack Collister. 10 metres out, bang in front of the sticks. Cornwall think they've turned it over. And they have. Matt Shepherd, the man doing the good work at the breakdown. And now they need an exit. Jack Morehouse was offside as well, so Cornwall will have the chance to relieve to touch.
Come to me. Yeah, bang on there. Thank you.
And a little bit of needle there. Callum Ridgway.
13.
Just a little glimpse of Cheshire's danger out wide there. But excellent defence from Matt Shepherd. First of all, watching Rory Hardman, guiding him out and then turning the ball over.
He looks a real threat, Rory Hardman, with his GB7's experience. He looks like a real live wire and someone that Cheshire will be trying to give space to all day long, that's for sure.
But another visit to the 22 and another opportunity gone.
This Cornwall team is full of experience, and I think having that experience at Twickenham in these big game occasions is something that they're going to lean on today. You can see it in things like this, just regathering. They've just been under the cosh a little bit, getting around their captain, making sure that they all know what they're doing on this next play, and then they're able to execute and go through that. So something that I think has an advantage for Cornwall is this big game experience. Like you say, 6 out of 7 finals here with lots and lots of representational experience above even county level.
Well, they've got a great balance. I spoke about the captain, Ben Hilton. This is his 7th Twickenham appearance. But then you've got the likes of Brad Howe. This is his first shot at Twickenham. He scored 3 tries in 3 games for Cornwall this season. I think if you can find that balance between bringing in the new players who can really take advantage of it, being special, but then when you've got that experience to just bring them through too.
It's a great breeding ground as well for them as well. When I played against Cornwall 2 years ago, Billy Searle was playing, who's now at Wasps, and Christian Judge, who played yesterday off the bench for Saracens. Those youngsters that come through and the experience helps them.
Here's Hardman again. Lovely step off the left foot. Drives the legs as well and gets Cheshire up over halfway. Crowe thinks about sending it wide, but instead punches through, and now Morton looks to put Rhys Hayes in space. Another of the Caldy men. There's Rushton. Barlow. Oh, what a shot that is from Jack Simmons. Crunching hit from the outside centre.
Away from the 9. Penalty play in the 9.
Now Cornwall give away the penalty. Unable to make anything stick from that great shot as Briggs puts some hands on it. Here's Callum Ridgway galloping down the left-hand side. Hardman outside him, but he goes inside instead to the captain, Dickinson. And Cheshire again find themselves on the brink of the Cornwall 22. Bob Alloway was warned there by referee Phil Davies.
We had a tackle, wrong side.
That's twice that Cheshire have caught the Cornish defence a little bit tight. The big thing they need to work on though is making sure that they, once they line break, keeping the ball and keeping that quick ball and going again. It's twice they've got round the outside but then lost the ball, even though that was a penalty there. So let's see if they can keep ball here, get through the phases and let that attacking threat really get around the outside of the Cornish defence.
Big line out here for both teams. Cheshire with a few consecutive visits to the Cornwall 22. They will not want to leave empty-handed this time. First job done. And now they're set. Here's the chance. They start to march towards that line, closing in, looking good here for Cheshire. Cornwall trying to scramble. They've slowed the momentum.
The backs have now joined. This is a really good platform to go over.
Well, they had 9, 10, 13 in there. It's gone to ground, and now they're short.
I've pulled that down. Tackle is formed. Man is trying to tackle. Man is trying to tackle.
The boys for Cheshire at the front of that maul doing all the hard work, making sure they've got a really good platform and the backs adding to it. We've seen 2 mauls now from Cheshire that have just been absolutely rock solid. And should they be able to take the line out here, secure it in the air, I can't see anything but a try coming here from Cheshire getting on the scoreboard.
How many in, please? Full line. Sorry. Got water carriers on? Yeah. Sorry, I hadn't seen the man.
Neil Briggs, rock solid that time.
Okay. Clock is on.
Cornwall again, not sending a man up, just looking to get bodies in there and slow this, but Cheshire have set it. But somehow Cornwall have come away with it. Jess Thompson turns that one over as the sun comes through the clouds here at Twickenham. And it's shining on the Cornish because they have escaped. They still need to exit. They still need to get a foothold in this game, but they have survived 2 driving lineouts from Cheshire, and the score remains Cornwall 0, Cheshire 0.
Here you can see Jess Thompson just working through the lifters to get into the to get to the ball carrier, and just superb strength there to rip the ball off him, and huge there for Cornwall to steal the ball. But I think we would have liked to see them take a phase, build that exit and actually get a bit more distance. They're only still 15 metres from their own line and still definitely driving territory here for Cheshire.
To the back this time, well secured. Ben Hilton trying to put a big paw on that ball, but Cheshire again, they set. They've been warned once by the referee, so Allsop digs for it. It's Tom Morton. Ball's gone forward, so advantage here for Cornwall. Well, no full back at home, so they put it to the toe, and now Reese Hayes, so they're all on his own. He's going to chase his own kick, and he's going to have a good chance of taking it as well, but that's a lovely take. Tony Whittle, the big lock forward, absorbs the pressure, takes a clean catch in midfield. It's been a while since we've seen Cornwall on the ball. Dan Jobb. And Trelawney's Army find their voice. And Shepherd, have they gone high on him there? If not, it's a huge shot from Barlow. God, the battle of the midfielders is a bruising one as Jack Morehouse puts another big shot in. It's Kevin. Finds a lovely pass to Alex Ducker, who's going to get the opening try of the final. That is 4 tries in 4 games and a first in a Twickenham final for the Cornish flyer, Alex Ducker, after Cornwall have absorbed 5 minutes of pressure inside their own 22.
Yeah, Alex Ducker's had a phenomenal season this year, ending in selection for the England Counties for the upcoming tour. Speaking to James Shanahan, the England Counties coach, before the game, he was saying Alex Ducker's one to look out for. Superb gas and footwork, and there we see it in action. Really good, getting on the end like any good winger, sniffing the opportunity and then finishing from afar.
Stop him, bang on 20.
Fraser Honey, 27 points in the county championship so far this season. This conversion takes him level with Tom Morton, 29 apiece. But more importantly for Cornwall, it means that they lead Cheshire by 7 points to 0. And that is huge relief for the Cornish after all the pressure they've come under inside their own 22.
Yeah, Cheshire are going to be disappointed with their conversion rate of getting into the 22 and coming away with points. The first time that Cornwall really sort of threatened there, they come away with points straight away from outside the 22. It's something that Cheshire need to take a little bit of composure. They've worked their way down to the 22 really nicely, but once they're there, they've got to take their time, build the phases, and try and break down this Cornish defence.
Tony Whittle, good take from him. Wrestled to the floor eventually by Collister. Here's Ellaway. Moulton puts that heavily strapped right knee through the ball. Rhys Hayes takes it cleanly. There's Hardman. Barlow tries to get around Jack Simmons, who just about manages to hold on to an ankle. And again, Cheshire look to go through the phases. Good energy there from Rhys Hayes, gets the ball away.
It's that man again, Harrison Crowe, carrying. He's a real threat with the ball in hand, and certainly one that Cornwall needs to sort out.
Oh, lovely pick up off the toes from Briggs, but the ball had gone forward. Phil Davis waited before putting the whistle to his lips then, and I thought the big man was away.
Neil Briggs there with all his experience. He was always a really skillful hooker, prided himself on practicing the extras when he was at Sale, and you can see the skills on show. Him and Rob Ellaway have had a real dinging start to the half, and we're trying to see who's probably the best out of the two most experienced hookers, and they're both taking great pride into who's the best senior pro out of the two of them.
There are some fascinating battles all over the park. The centres have been going toe-to-toe. Whittle, Hilton, Gerrard and Collister putting in massive engine room performances. 20 minutes gone, just that one converted try, but plenty to get excited about in this Bill Beaumont Division 1 final.
Guys, we've had 4 scrums, we haven't got one right. Rob, both sides, sort it out.
We talked about the set piece. Phil Davis here, I think his hand is going to be forced unless the front rows can sort out what's going to happen. Our scrum completion rate has been non-existent so far, so they both need to have a responsibility to keep the scrum up. Otherwise, there we are. He's forced to make a decision, and he's gone in the way of Cheshire.
It is an unenviable task refereeing scrummages.
Black loose head loses it for me.
Cheshire once again find themselves inside the Cornish 22.
Put blues on the line, just inside.
On this left-hand side.
6 man.
20 minutes in, this is a real pivotal point of the game here, Dave. They've got to, like we talked about, this would be a real blow for them if they didn't come away from this set of phases without any score. So hopefully they can secure possession first and then hopefully convert.
Briggs finds his man again. Again they set to maul. Cornwall, given that they're not committing many bodies, defending this one particularly well, but now it starts to march forward and into the 22. It breaks up, it's scrappy, and it has to come out. Dickinson puts some width on it, so Barlow trundles into the 22. Gerrard waits, drops his head and gets met by 2 big Cornish defenders. Little tip on there, puts Barlow in a bit of trouble, but he does well to get the ball away to Jack Morehouse.
Lost your feet, lost.
Crow takes that line just off the shoulder. Seems to breach the gain line every time. Gerard. Eric Salisbury's there.
Penalty advantage. Yeah.
And now the penalty given inside the 22. The chance to get the first ink in the ledger here for Chester. They're shaping up towards the corner though. Well, that is a brave decision.
How many, please, Blue?
Cornwall have adapted to their maul defence here. They're mouldy now, not competing aerially, but then trying to get their big, hard, tight forwards, making sure they're doing the job at the maul, and people like Ben Hilton sort of finding himself working his way through. People like Jess Thompson have really done a good job. So watch Ben Hilton here. He'll try to work through this maul and get onto the ball carrier as quickly as possible.
5 metres out. Again, Cornwall don't contest, but now they do. Ben Hilton making a nuisance of himself, but this better from Cheshire. Closing in on the try line, closing in on their first score of the final, but again, Cornwall managed to disrupt it.
Lost ball now.
Cheshire have done really well to get that ball back. I thought the Cornish forwards were going to lie all over it as it was a maul and get the scrum turnover, but the Cheshire, Nicholas Alsop at 9 has done a fantastic job of getting his hands on the ball and making sure it's come back their way.
Cheshire pick, go, but they've lost metres again. But this is good territory for them. Good possession as we approach 25 minutes. Cornwall set the defence, but it's quicker ball this time from Cheshire, but another monster shot to drive them backwards.
Cheshire, with all their backs in this pick and go game, don't have any really other option apart from to pick and go. They've got to have something a bit more creative than just a pick and go against this Cornish defence. They've got to try and stretch them and get some width into their attack.
And every time they lose metres, the Cornish supporters get on their back. They've got no one on the right-hand side, Cheshire, but now perhaps some space on the left, but it looks like it's only going one way. Alsop, the scrum half, is a passenger. Patience here. It's crude work from Cheshire. They're going through the phases. Cornwall had hands on that. And they've turned it over. Now they put boot to ball. The try scorer, Ducker, gets an awkward bounce for Rhys Hayes, who does very well. Now it could be on for Cheshire. Well, it is back and forth stuff. We talked about the pendulum swinging. That's just the last 3 phases.
Huge play there from Cornwall. Again, Cheshire visiting the 22, spending time there. They're spending an enormous proportion of time down in that 22, the Cornish 22. And again, not coming away with any points. And now they're back in their own 22. It must be so hard for them mentally and physically.
Derek Salisbury, the big prop forward, receiving some medical attention as Cheshire pump that one down the middle of the park. There's Ducker, loves running into space. John Daw, he's going to take the contact. There are some Cheshire hands on that. Harrison Crow off his feet though, so doesn't challenge anymore. His job.
He hasn't got that.
Short ball finds Shepherd from Simmons. Again, defensive organisation. Christopher Speed, that is, making the hit. We're in number 22. He's come on as a replacement for Cheshire, and bodies falling.
The ball's been in play now since that Cheshire line out in the 22, so it's been in play for what, 4 minutes now, and we're seeing some tired legs out there. There's going to be gaps in the defence for whoever's opposite the ball.
We might bring this one to a close shortly because Josh Dickinson was down getting some medical treatment. Oh, there's Ducker again, gets that ball away. So dangerous and aware of his surroundings. Oh, beautiful offload, doesn't quite stick. Oh, I thought that was in the breadbasket of Simmons, but the ball's still in play. There's Morehouse.
Don't take it, Ben. Advantage over.
And again, they keep the ball in play and Shepherd chases back. Little chip up the tram lines for him, it stays in play, and Dickinson back on his feet. Alsop Up the blind side, quick hands here, but not a lot of space to work in, so Hardman in the headband finds the ground. Crow, dummies, goes, takes on Ben Hilton, nearly gets the better of him as well. Approaching half an hour, Morton chips in that space, there's no left winger there. So it turns Ducker. He puts a left boot to it. There are men back here for Cheshire. Feels as though composure is necessary in this epic phase of play. There's Hayes. Martin Gerrard. It's Crow. And Morehouse nearly gets through. Oh, that's a fabulous cover tackle. Thought he'd spotted a mismatch with the front rower, and he nearly did. Just a shirt pull between him and the try line. Tom Morton. There's Christopher Speed.
Come on, 9. Sorry, 11.
There's another Cheshire player down. Just finished receiving treatment, just out of your shot.
Release one back.
Here's Tom Morton.
That's your man pushing men.
It's great to see both teams keeping the ball alive, keeping the ball in play. This ball now hasn't been out of play for 7 minutes, and both teams really testing their open play ability here. We see all the shirt numbers 1 to 15 stepping up, trying to offload, trying to keep the ball alive, and it's a real testament to both of these teams and why they're in the final. You can see that they're both trying to play.
Certainly is, and the assistant referee was on the pitch there, just separating a fracas. I wonder if he'll come back for that as Cheshire make their way up to the 22. God, this is an epic phase of play, but still the tackles come in and still Cheshire goes through the phases. Allsop thought he was going to have a dart himself for a second there. Instead, Jack Collister carries them into the 22, gets it away to Morehouse. It's gone off the foot, so the ball is still alive.
Connected.
Oh, what a take inside the 22. Just ran out of patience, did Cheshire. And Brad Howe came across to defuse the bomb. But now, will we be having a conversation between the referee and his assistant? Oh, there could have been a late shot on Morton. That might have been what was spotted. He got flattened.
Okay, we'll have a word next time. Gloves off, Steve, sorry.
I don't think there's going to be any further action taken. The water carriers are on. I'm not sure if they're bringing H2O or oxygen masks after that.
You can see the reason why they're both here, though, Dave. It's end-to-end stuff. It's total rugby almost. All of the players out there trying to get their hands on the ball, trying to keep it alive, and the fact that they've kept the ball moving for 7 minutes without it going out means that they've got to see some high skill on show from both teams.
And also the number of players willing to put hands on the ball. We see back rowers throwing big passes in midfield, front rowers with little tips, everyone trying to offload.
Yeah, there's so many intriguing battles out there. I've been particularly impressed by Martin Gerrard for Cheshire early on. He's a really strong ball carrier alongside Harrison Crow. And then on the flip side, Tony Whittle and Ben Hilton in the engine room for Cornwall, just doing all the hard stuff, hitting rucks, doing everything that enables all the skillful players around them to play. And it's their dark arts knowledge, having played against them, is excellent.
Cornwall clear to touch, still leading thanks to that Alex Ducker try and that Fraser Honey conversion. But in terms of territory, in terms of possession, I think if Chester can be a little more clinical, then they can certainly get something from this final as Gerrard takes another carry in, takes the flat ball. Barlow
they've got the ball carriers, Cheshire. They just need to speed up the speed of their breakdowns. It's just giving the Cornish defence a little bit more time to set up and get off the line and hit them. It's got to be a real focus point for Cheshire to get that speed that ball up and make sure that they're ready to go, because it's just, we can see again Cornwall doing a really good job of slowing that ball down and maybe even turning it over.
Well, Cornwall have turned it over again. Well read by Rory Hardman. He saw the kick coming and he gets back before the bounce. Jack Morehouse and John Daw tangle. I wonder if there's a little bit more needle out there than perhaps we're seeing from up here in the stands. Wouldn't be surprised, a cagey affair like this.
I'm sure there is, Dave. There's like we talked about, there is so much experience out there, and even with a team of 3 officials out there, just little battles in the tight areas. I know they're going on out there, and it's you can see in the reaction from the players, and there's definitely a little bending of the rules, should we say, from both teams.
Derek Salisbury down, getting some medical attention again. That's the second time. He was down out of your shot earlier underneath the sticks. Now he's on his haunches on the 10-metre line.
Cheshire will be hoping he stays on. He's a real talismanic figure for Coldy and a cult hero in that part of the world. So his scrummaging and his ball carrying is something that Cheshire need at least another sort of 20 or 30 minutes from.
Well, he's back on his feet. Made a tough old stuff. That wind really swirling around now. The sunny morning that we celebrated, it's turned into a cloudy evening, but I think it's going to stay dry. It's still warm out there. Barring the breeze, fantastic playing conditions on a great surface.
No long bind from Cornwall 3. Come on the shoulder, he needs to go longer.
Jess Thompson in the loose has been fantastic, but he's definitely one that the officials are watching. So we're just feeding into Phil Davis. He's making his way around to have a look at this battle on the for Jess Thompson, and he needs to make sure he's giving a good picture here to Phil Davis.
Amazing. Mark, I'm going to come back. Crouch. Bind. Sit.
Well, eventually the ball comes in from Jack Alton, and he's going to receive it on the blind side. He's got John Daw outside him, who takes on Rory Hardman and gets driven towards the touchline for his troubles. Well, there haven't been many penalties in the match so far.
It's a tough one, that one. Harrison Crowe stuck there painting the picture. It just means you can't get that jackal if the tackler's not painting that picture to the referee of rolling away. It doesn't matter how legal that jackal is, it can the referee will not give it, and often give the penalty against you if you're not making a really good picture of rolling away post-tackle.
We're approaching the final 5 minutes of the half. Our clock is not linked in with the referee's watch. It's just an approximation, but it's fairly accurate. If the clock goes red and your team's in the lead, don't get too excited. There might be a little bit of time left. For Cornwall, great field position here. It's been a rarity for them. He really had that one opportunity. They had a visit to the Cheshire 22 in the first couple of minutes. It was a great finish from Alex Ducker. It splits the two teams at the moment. Oh, but they fumbled that, and I think Harrison Crowe's turned it over. Just on the way down, Crowe managed to dislodge the ball. And both teams really causing havoc when defending lineouts in their own 22. Well, the block is in for Morton. And he hammers that one to just outside the 22. Not the cleanest of strikes.
As we've seen in the season this year, it's been definitely an advantage to the attacking team at more times, so both teams doing excellently to disrupt, to do anything they can just to get in between those lifters, get to the ball and disrupt, and both Cheshire there managed to relieve the pressure on Cornwall earlier. It's a real skill and some sort of excellent work from the tight forwards there to stop and dismantle these mauls.
Alloway, shortened numbers and finds his man at the back, so there's Fraser Honey. Options here, but John Daw can't gather it cleanly, and Jack Morehouse puts the shot in. It's turned over one way and it's back with Cornwall.
Stay this side with the front foot.
Well, such is the defensive line speed and organisation. Neither team has really been able to get any fluidity in attack in these opening 36-37 minutes.
Yeah, both teams pressing hard, trying to make sure they've got two men on the tackle to make it an effective tackle. One of those guys then normally is influencing the breakdown somehow, whether it be a jackal or trying to bounce through, slow it down. I think both teams, in order to get their attack firing, need a platform like we saw from Cornwall there. They need to get going and get over the game line, but then speed up that breakdown and get the ball moving and try and get around this really quick press defence from both Cheshire and from Cornwall.
Well, Rob Alloway is going to be taking a breather for Cornwall.
It's a big blow going off, a lot of experience going onto that bench right there, so a huge loss for Cornwall just before the half-time.
So Allsop from the base. Barlow has to take that one above his head, but there's a couple of good handoffs in. And Cornwall win the penalty. Sensational work from Alton, and he wants to go quickly.
Another player that's earned England County's selection for this upcoming tour. He's earmarked as a really physical 9 that wants to get on the ball and wants to carry, and he's also got a kicking game, and we can see there just why he's earned a call up to the England Counties team.
In terms of that sort of jackling skill, it's something that's evolving in the game. More and more players around the park are able to turn that ball over.
Yeah, Cornwall are making really good decisions though. We saw in the women's game a lot of penalties for the jackal. Cornwall are making good decisions on what tactic to use, whether to not compete if it's not a fully effective tackle, or to jackal if they get the opportunity and it's a dominant tackle. Or sometimes we've seen from their tighter forwards, who are maybe not the best jacklers, getting up and just trying to bounce through and clear space for that next man. So they're making really wise decisions, and like I've alluded to, it's slowing the Cheshire ball down, it's negating their attack, and here we can see an opportunity for Cornwall to extend their lead to 10 points.
Well, the kick from just in front of the 10-metre line and bang in front of the sticks, but with this swirling wind, this is far from a foregone conclusion for Fraser Honey. Not a particularly long runner, chips it, hits the post, and it stays out. Well, half an inch the other way, and Cornwall are up to double figures.
Even with the win there, Fraser will be disappointed with that. He's been absolutely prolific for Plymouth this season, so very much a kickable opportunity for him, and I know one that he'll probably be disappointed with.
And still, as we approach half-time, just the one converted try to satisfy these travelling Cornish fans. Cornwall 7, Cheshire 0.
Huge moment for Matt Ballard, first throw of the game in a really pivotal part of the game as well. So he's got to hit his man, and he's just slightly overthrown it there, which is never good for the first throw of the game.
Well, the advantage was coming for the knock-on, but they've kicked it away, and John Daw can have a counter run. Up over halfway, straight into Michael Barlow. That's high.
These Cheshire centres really are abrasive. They're not afraid to carry, and certainly aren't afraid of going for a big hit here.
Well, the assistant referee has said it started low and gone up. He saw it from the other side, but certainly looked like a, let's just say, competitive shot from Barlow. But yes, he and Jack Morehouse.
Uncompromising.
Well, the clock is red. We are on the referee's watch. So these should be the last phases of the first half. Although bearing in mind we have had one period of play where the ball was live for 7 minutes, anything could happen as Matt Ballard recovers. That's a much better ball from him. That one's gone forward.
Still playing advantage.
Here's Reese Hayes, dancing footwork. Tom Wharton. Runs into Sam Stevens. Cheshire in between the 22 and the 10-metre line.
6 there, he's gone straight down on the man.
And they've won the penalty.
You can play the line out.
I wonder if they'll knock this to touch. Well, they are, they fancy it.
Six man.
Cheshire really looked dangerous with ball in hand. They just, like we've talked about, they just need to speed that ball up and keep hold of it. And I think it'll pay dividends. They've got some really strong ball carriers. They've just got to have a focus point at half-time about what they're going to do about this Cornish game plan at the breakdown and how they're going to keep hold of possession.
Good line-up ball this time from Cheshire. Last opportunity to equalise before half-time, but Cornwall have done incredibly well again.
Lost ball, Cornwall.
Again, the experience of Ben Hilton managing to shut that maul down. But here we have a chance for Cheshire to really get at Cornwall and level the scores before half-time.
Well, that's better. Quick ball, but Neil Briggs knocks it on, and Phil Davies puts his whistle to his lips to bring an end to a fascinating opening 40 minutes in the Bill Beaumont Division 1 final. And this one is tight, make no mistake. Half-time here, Cornwall 7, Cheshire 0. Just the one try, of course, but plenty of highlights. From a coaching perspective, the defence of both teams, they will be absolutely delighted, the defensive coaches. Oh, hang on. Well, the referee blew what we believe to be the half-time whistle.
Clearly, I thought we had time. I think the comms just broke down between us. So we're going to sort it out, and we'll go from there. Give us a second.
Interestingly, you can see how much this game means to both sides. Just watching the players as they were making their way to their supposed huddles for the half-time team talk. It really was a little bit niggly there with the coaches coming on and players. It's a real hot contest, this one, between both teams.
So it's a red card against 9 black. Yeah. 9 black.
Well, Cornwall are in deep trouble here. Jack Alton has been given his marching orders. Just trying to pick up on the conversation between Phil Davies and his assistant referee. But the half is not over. And in the grand scheme of things, how important will that be? Cornwall down to 14. Referee Phil Davies trusting his assistant, and for an incident he didn't see, giving Jack Alton a straight red card here at Twickenham.
Yeah, you saw the aftermath of it. You saw the melee, but we couldn't see from up here what happened. But clearly a clear vision there from the AR that fed into Phil, and he's made a big call there. And Jack Alton, who is an England counties player in the waiting, has had his marching orders, and that's going to have a huge impact on this game.
Well, a massive few phases here. If Cheshire can get something before the half-time whistle goes for the second time, then surely they go into the second half as clear favourites. If Cornwall can hold out inside their 22 again, then will that give them the confidence to bring it home with 40 minutes to go? But Cheshire, Boyd marching towards the Cornish try line. 15, 14, 13, now 10 metres, penalty advantage. So the captain, Dickinson, takes it to ground. Our clock now 7 minutes beyond the 40 as Gerrard puts his head down. Again, Cheshire keep it tight. And we do go back for the penalty. So Daniel Matthews there wearing 17 has come on for Cheshire amidst the carnage. And Morton finds touch. Well, goodness me. I was just looking forward to watching a replay of the try at half-time and dissecting the first half with you, Ian Kench. But now it is going to be a very different conversation when Phil Davis ends the opening stanza.
Cornwall have been here 4 times already, though, and managed to negate it each time. Can they do it again just before half-time?
Is that straight? Looked as though the man had to reach to his right-hand side to take it, but referee happy enough to let play continue. That is the first warning, but it starts to go forward again. Matt Shepherd's in there. Oh, it's been turned over.
Ben Hilton there again, just getting in the middle, turning that maul around, staying on the ball. He has been instrumental in stopping this maul. He is really showing all his experience as Cornish captain. That was fantastic work.
And now it is half-time. Phil Davis blows his whistle for the second time after 48 minutes. 1 try, 1 conversion, 1 missed penalty and 1 red card. It is Cornwall 7, Cheshire 0. Well, a few moments to compose yourselves at home and for us to compose ourselves here. What a conclusion to the opening 40 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that half's had it all. It's had big hits in both attack and defence. We've had try-scoring opportunities from both teams and even a red card. So it'll be interesting to see what's being said. I'd love to be in that Cornish huddle. The one positive they have is they've got Matt Shepherd, who's started the game at 15, but is an experienced 9, plays there often for Plymouth. Has been here several times with Cornwall, so at least they've got a 9 that can come in and do the job. And Graham Dorr there, you can see in the middle of the huddle, will be, I'm sure, passing on all of his wisdom for years of experience as a coach.
Well, just taking a look at that huddle there, it's in tight, it's loud here in Twickenham, both on the PA system and with those Cornish supporters over on the far side. But the communication needs to be clear. As for Cheshire, they simply have to be buoyed by that. Lots of positives for them in that first half, not as clinical as they'd like to be. They didn't take advantage of any of their opportunities inside the 22. However, they visited it plenty of times. And now, with a 1-man advantage, they'll feel as though they can come away as champions.
Yeah, the Cheshire attack has been potent, but they've still got to solve that issue of retaining ball at the breakdown and definitely still speeding up. One of the main things I'm sure the coach is relaying here is how they're going to do that and when they're going to make sure once they speed that ball up, what they're going to do with it. So they've got some real threats out wide. They've got some really big ball carriers in the middle. They just need to keep the ball and I'm sure get through the phases and speed it up.
Well, there were a few incidents to chew over in that first half, one of which was the only score. It went to Alex Ducker. Again, it came from hard graft in the middle of the park, which is something that Cornwall have done very well indeed, not just today but over the years. But just there, Jack Morehouse, the 13, a crunching hit. He's been gargantuan in the opening stanza. But the step there from Kevin just to fix the defenders. In fact, he was picked up and dropped on his shoulder there. A lovely finish from Ducker, but signs just in those phases that there was going to be needle and it was going to boil over at some point.
Yeah, you see Matt Shepherd holding on to the ankle of the Cheshire player. You see, when you slow it down, when you look at it, you see just all these dark arts that these boys have from playing years and years of National 1, National 2 rugby. And it's obviously boiling over, and the team, I think, that controls their discipline in the second half could be the team that comes away with the spoils.
Well, that sets us up beautifully for 40 more minutes, should I say, of Bill Beaumont Division 1 final rugby. We'll be back with the second half shortly. It's Cornwall 7, Cheshire 0. All set for the second half of a Bill Beaumont County Cup final that is now officially in the balance. Cornwall 7, Cheshire 0. Cheshire 15 players, Cornwall 14. Jack Alton will be nervously watching from the bench after his straight red card at the end of the first half. We'll take a look at the incident again a little bit later on. We didn't spot it here in the commentary position, and neither did referee Phil Davies. Fraser Honey gets us back underway. And Matt Shepherd gets that clearance kick half charged down, and I do wonder if we'll be seeing him at scrum half in this second stanza.
Looking from where he's standing now, David looks very much like he's reverted to 9, and they'll look after the lost player maybe in the back line, I think. So that back, the wingers and the fullback are going to have to work ultra hard here to make sure they're covering the backfield, particularly when Cheshire exits him.
Ben Hilton, the captain, secures the first line-out ball of the second half. They do have another scrum half option, Cornwall. Taron Peacock, the Camborne man. But I suppose when you're down to 14 in a cup final, you want someone with that kind of experience, exactly what Matt Shepherd has. First touch of the second half in open play for Tom Morton. He finds Rhys Hayes over on the far side in front of the Cornish fans, who are a little bit quieter at the start of this second half, and understandably so. Morehouse hits the line. Oh, that's a nice line break there, and up the left-hand side. So Chris Crowley is on.
Great first impact from Chris Crowley there, but he should have looked up. The defender had gone. There was space in front of him. He'd bought the dummy, and actually there's just space to pin his ear back and go himself.
I actually think, in all the excitement of half-time, we seem to have lost the referee's mic as well.
Here we see Craig Williams on again, another experienced campaigner. Many in England counties saw under the belt, and having scrummaged behind him, I can tell you it's a comfy armchair ride. He is a fantastic scrummager.
The soothing sounds of Phil Davies is back with us.
Again, we see that physicality. We see Whittle absolutely piling into Neil Briggs at the breakdown. And whilst legal, it's they're certainly not making any friends out there. And you can see Neil still holding his kidneys after that big clear out from Tony Whittle, who again is another seasoned campaigner for Cornwall and is no stranger to the dark arts at all.
Rhys Hayes called the mark, and Matt Shepherd, I think, has gone out in the second half with one clear instruction, and that is kick for territory. Twice he's had the ball in his hands, twice he's put the boot to it.
Ben, how many? 5 man.
It's how well conditioned Cornwall are going to be. If they're going to play that tactic of kick chase and getting after the ball, it's all fine, but there are going to be some tired legs coming the last 10 minutes, so it's going to be a real test of their character, and if they manage to pull this off, then they certainly deserve it.
Ballard finds his man, and then Honey takes it right to the line before sending a big man into the contact zone. Martin Gerrard making the tackle. Ed Pascoe this time, Royal Navy man. Steady start here from Cornwall. Happy on the ball, but as you mentioned before, it's when they've got to come under pressure in defence, the wingers who are going to have to sweep up. But up the blind side here, here's Alex Ducker, gets the offload away up. Perhaps didn't need to throw that, and Chris Speed for Cheshire gets a hand on it, and it is back with blue. But Ducker, one of those wingers who looks to try and make things happen.
Holding.
He certainly looks dangerous. Anytime he gets the ball, he's got an electric turn of pace and feet to go with it. So the game is by no means over here for Cornwall. If you can get that man the ball in space, he can finish from anywhere.
Okay. I think I went with the ball.
Well, the floodlights are on now here at Twickenham.
2 blue. Blue 2 replacement.
No suggestion of the sun anymore.
Blue 2 replacement.
And I think the conditions really reflect the game. It's dark, it's a battle. As Josh Brown comes on to replace Neil Briggs, so neither of the starting hookers now on the pitch. And Neil Briggs, I think he took a shot early in the second half, got to his feet quite gingerly.
Yeah, there's that clear out by Tony Whittle that's done for Neil's day. Again, another big loss like Rob Ellaway going off. It's just an experienced head going off for Cheshire, and now we've got probably more experience on the Cornwall side, and so it's a huge blow, both a mental and a physical capacity for the Cheshire team.
It's Josh Brown's first season as a senior Cheshire representative. Dan Job at the back. Do apologise, Nathan Rushton at the back of the line out for Cheshire. They look to come up the left-hand side. Rhys Hayes gives it one more, and it ends up back with Cornwall though. One offload too many. Harrison Crowe with the tackle. Shepherd in Oh, looks for a little gap himself, enjoys a dart. In fact, it was a similar position that he scored a try from 9 in the final a couple of years ago against Lancashire. Just that slow, languid style. Chips into space this time, gets an awkward bounce and chases his own kick. Tackles his opposite number, Rhys Hayes, who did well himself in the end. Suggestion that could have gone forward, but instead Cheshire go forward, and Michael Barlow up over halfway and around a few defenders. Could be on here for Cheshire. Callum Ridgway, the big man, Collister, gallops. And eventually Cornwall can get back to recover, but this much better from Cheshire. What about that break from Barlow to set it up? Allsop is Gerrard again.
Penalty advantage.
Allsop. As Craig Williams attempts the tackle. Matthews. Pick and go, and
Dickinson's really grown into the game here as a captain, brother of Sam Dickinson from Ealing and Northampton previously. He's really starting to carry hard alongside Morehouse and
Rhys Hayes switches inside. Christopher Speed less than a metre away. A pick and a go from Tom Horton. Has he got there? Yes, he has. It's taken them nearly 48 minutes and multiple visits to the Cornish 22, but finally Cheshire break their deadlock. Tom Morton, right place, right time. 34 points in the county championship for him, but he has closed the gap to 2. Cornwall 7, Cheshire 5.
we spoke at half-time about Cheshire trying to get through the phases, speed the ball up, and that's exactly what they've done there. Multiple phases, over a dozen phases at least, and you can see having a real intent to get past the ball at the breakdown, speed it up, and we saw all the players there offloading, keeping the ball alive, playing with real tempo, which is what you've got to do against the 14 men of Cornwall to fatigue them and tire them out. So fantastic attack there from Cheshire. We saw glimpses of it in the first half, and there we see the complete picture leading to a try in the corner.
Well, it's not me, I have to apologise to.
Tom Morton, former England under-20 international. That takes him up to 34 points, as I said. This is the chance to take him up to 36. And third overall in this season's county championship points tally. Looks to draw that one in, but never really gave it a chance, and Cornwall's lead, although slender, is still a lead. Cornwall 7, Cheshire 5.
I think for Cornwall to win this one, they've got to have the intent to go out there and score more points. They can't rely on a 2-point cushion. Cheshire look potent in attack, and I just want to see this Cornwall team try and keep the ball alive and do what they're good at, which is being direct, be intent, and try and get some more points on the board.
Fraser Honey to get us back underway. That one drops just inside the 22. Dickinson, the man who carries into contact. There's Matthews. He loves a carry since coming on. There's Crow. Again, one of those men who seems to find the tackle and then make another yard or two. Big fizzing pass there for speed. I think Morton took that to the line then. If he'd have thrown the dummy, I think he'd beaten the defender. Here's Josh Brown, replacement front rower. Looks like he's got plenty of energy as well, as Allsop picks, goes, and there's a little kick in behind for Matt Shepherd to chase. He's defending at fullback, but attacking at scrum half. He has got a busy half an hour to come as Matt Shepherd.
Allsop's really speeding this game up for Cheshire. He's had a fantastic start to this second half. You can see the intent. He's sniping. He's picking it up and going. He's not waiting to look what's happening behind him. He just wants to get going, and certainly the way that this Cheshire team want to play, and it's certainly the way to tire out this the 14 men of Cornwall.
Cheshire find themselves inside the Cornwall 22 once more. And again, Cornwall's defence of this maul forces Cheshire to come out early. There's Barlow. There's been plenty of time, ball in hand, as Michael Barlow, always looking for work in midfield.
Tackle release!
Tom Sanders wearing 18, another of the Caldy contingent, has come on as a second half replacement.
Matt Shepherd again there with a turnover. He has been instrumental as that last line of defence, like you say, reverting to the original position of 15. And just 2 huge turnovers in this game that have relieved the pressure for Cornwall. Outstanding work there.
And they can kick clear once again. But I think the point you made a couple of minutes ago, Cornwall need to keep playing.
6, 7, 8.
Even when you're a man down and you're tired, tempo is absolutely everything.
Yeah, we can see here in this little break of play, actually, they're all, as the changes being made, they're all around their skipper, they're all around Ben Hilton. I'm sure he's passing on how he wants the team to play, which, as I think should be, they've got to go out there and seek for more points. They can't just rest on the 2-point lead.
Well, Cornwall have changed the entire back row. Ed Pascoe, Sam Stevens and Brad Howe all coming off.
Clock will stop.
George Jones, Grant Randlesome and Taron Peacock all being announced onto the field of play.
Clock is on.
In fact, it is Taron Peacock coming on now, wearing number 20, standing at scrum half, so Matt Shepherd will be back at fullback, at least for the time being. Again, Morton looks to whip it, finds Jack Morehouse. Real try-scoring threat, Morehouse. Over 100 tries for Sale FC. But in this final, he certainly caught the eye for his defensive work as Dickinson smashes forward.
I'm all right with that, mate. I'm all right with that. No problems at all.
Feels as though there's a bit of rain in the air now. That could add another dynamic to this final. It's Tom Sanders. Barlow finds Reese Hayes, steps one way, then the other. Really dangerous off both feet, Reese Hayes, but Cornwall come through and try to spoil. There's Josh Brown. Looks like he's got a lovely pair of hands, the replacement hooker. Very confident in midfield. As Nathan Rushton can only tip that one round the post.
We saw in the women's final the impact of the bench and how important that was. So, particularly with 14 men, which team has got, which county's got the stronger bench is going to be pivotal today. And I've been really impressed with the Cheshire bench so far, with the boys coming on. Josh Brown in particular, Tom Sanders, not afraid to carry as the big men, and actually they both look like young men that aren't afraid just on the big stage to get involved in the game.
Right, we've got players down receiving treatment, so we're going to have a look at that incident that led to the red card. Let's see if we can catch anything this time. The ball came towards the middle of the park. There was something off the ball there. Oh, and just as it cut away, well, he's not in the shot there, is Jack Alton, so it's over on the far side. It was right in front of the referee's assistant, and was a foot about to go to the head.
7 blue. 7 blue replacement. Maybe it's all the way here.
Let's have one more look. Over on the far side, there's a bit of a fracas. There's Jack Alton.
Chris, let's go.
But the mark was always back here.
He wasn't actually, so he'd sort of come away from that one there, Dave, and it looks like he's come back into that scuffle and obviously done something that has led to him receiving the red card.
Well, 15 minutes of the second half gone, and his Cornwall team lead, but only just 7 points to 5. Try from Tom Morton has narrowed the deficit for Cheshire, who've spent so much time on the ball in this second period. Matt Shepherd, well, doesn't receive the ball because that is a monster error.
Hands are coming towards me.
Well, John Daw chased back. He was under no pressure whatsoever. And as Matt Shepherd waited, the ball never arrived.
A simple error of fatigue, I would say there. We can see Cornwall probably spent the first 15 minutes of this half defending, and with 14 men, they're having to work that a little bit harder. These errors are going to creep into their game. The more they have to defend, the more fatigue they get in those legs, and the more potential silly little errors that we see like that. And this is a fantastic platform for Cheshire now to strike and get in the lead.
Well, John Daw is one of the experienced men in this Cornwall outfit. A 2-time County Cup winner in his 3rd Twickenham final. He will need to put that out of his mind as the Cornwall supporters find their voice again. But their team is under serious scrutiny. And Cheshire have managed to find ways to win these tight games this season. They've won 2 of their group games by 1 point, including one where they snatched a last-minute converted try. 3 wins from 3 in the group stages for both teams to get them here.
Interestingly, Cornwall have opted for the 8-man scrum. Craig Williams is on the tight. Jess Thompson has moved across the loose head. I think they really fancy having a go at this ball here. You can see them really loading up for this scrum.
Blue, blue, blue. Blue, blue, blue. Went to ground then. Tried to crank him and take him down.
We got now, boys. This is it, boys. You're not dominant.
The Cornwall front row there, chatting away to Phil Davis, pleading their dominance and looking for the pen. So I think this one could go either way, but you can certainly see the Cornish front row, like I said, they've loaded up this scrum. They're really having a go at it. This could be a pivotal moment for them to get a scalp and get the ball against the head.
Bind. Set.
Again, Cornwall look to get the shove on, but it goes to ground. And Cornwall have got the penalty. Well, look at that reaction. And listen to that reaction.
Years of experience from Craig Williams, highlighted earlier for his scrummaging and his work on previous England Counties tour, and all that experience to the fore. There is a huge scrum penalty for the Cornishmen.
And once again, Cheshire visit the Cornish 22 and come away empty-handed.
Black 10, 1 blue.
Still plenty of time in this one.
1 blue replacement.
Still plenty of incident to come. But Cornwall win another mini battle.
How many in, Cornwall? 6 man.
Still, they're inside their own half.
Don't change now.
22 minutes on our clock remaining.
Don't change.
1 try apiece. Just the boot of Fraser Honey separates the sides. Remember, he hit the post and failed to score with a penalty as well. How key could that be? Seti Ramakita has come on. Another Royal Navy man. As Alex Ducker wants to cut loose again, rolls that one in field. It's a risky play, but it's come off because Cornwall have come away with the ball. There's Taron Peacock, the scrum half, going to get his hands on the ball. Ducker's in there, that first receiver, but instead it goes to Richard Kevin, the centre in the scrum cap. Not spent a great deal of time on the ball. Shepherd in at first receiver. That time fantastic offload as well. And Cornwall are away up over the halfway line. This has been a real rarity. Grant Randlesome, the replacement, goes forward. Alex Ducker, penalty advantage coming here for Cornwall, but that is a dreadful pass. And the attack comes to nothing.
Blue 10.
Bit of a rush of blood there for Cornwall, I think. Chris Crowley thought all his Christmases had come at once before the referee's whistle went.
It's great to see the intent from Cornwall, trying to play, trying to get through the phases, and that patience is rewarded with a strong line break there. But I've been really impressed with this midfield of Morehouse and Barlow for Cheshire. They have just been direct. They've shut everything down defensively. If you look at a lot of the contact, they're in there, they're disrupting, they're hitting things really hard. That midfield combination for Cheshire has been absolutely outstanding today.
Nothing's called at the moment. Time is off for your players.
Just over 20 minutes of this one remaining. Our clock now matching the in-venue clock that's been stopped by Phil Davies. And every time play breaks down now, there does seem to be a player just receiving some kind of medical attention. It's impossible to play a game with this kind of physicality, this kind of intensity, and not pick up at least a few knocks.
Yeah, you have to remember that most of these players have come off the back of 30 games as well in a physical National 1 or National 2 or whatever it may be for their clubs, and they've then done a season for their county, and this is the culmination of that. So some of these boys will be maybe on their 35th game this season, and some of those body parts are going to be pretty sore by now.
And there are a few with an England Counties tour to come as well. The counties will be going to Georgia.
Cornwall, come on, let's go.
But Matt Shepherd kicks Cornwall into the Cheshire 22.
I can't imagine Georgia being a rest break for their bodies, knowing how the Georgians play.
Guys, you've got two half-backs at the moment.
No, anybody who thinks the England Counties tour is an end-of-season jolly, you send yourselves to Georgia and ask the boys at the end of it, but they will take huge pride in representing that red rose as the clock ticks beyond an hour, and Cornwall into the Cheshire 22. Cheshire have blown a few opportunities in this situation at the other end of the field, and that's exactly what Cornwall have done here. Monster turnover from Cheshire.
It's been a masterclass in how to defuse a maul today, hasn't it? There's two good mauls going at each other, but the defence from each team has been second to none. It's been, for any young forwards out there wanting to know how to defend mauls, watch some of these ones that we've had today.
And now it's Cheshire's turn to clear their lines. Cornwall have now defended their lead with 14 men for almost half an hour. It was 8 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the first half, and now 21 minutes of this second half. But if they are going to defend it, they're going to have to stop giving away penalties. They've worked so hard to get into the Cheshire 22, then two mistakes in quick succession, and all that hard work's undone.
Yeah, the replacement row there, front row there from Cheshire, I've been so impressed with these guys that have come on, and they're against a really experienced front row of Cornwall, but you can see there they work hard, they stay low, they stay tight, and they sheared off and painted a really good picture there to Phil Davis, and rewarded with the penalty.
5-man.
There is Josh Brown, been very impressive. Thought that Cheshire might miss Neil Briggs when he went off, a big loss. And that one's not straight. Oh, what a mistake to make. Fatigue setting in for both teams. Silly errors. They're costing the game fluidity, continuity. But most importantly, they're really costing their team any kind of initiative. And this final really turning into one for the purists.
Do you think that's the impact of Trelawney Army there? We can see the 1,000 or so Cornish fans. The throw in front of them, having experienced it, it's not an easy task at all.
Well, it sounds a lot louder than that. A penny for the thoughts of Rory Hardman over there on the left wing for Cheshire. He's just walking up and down the touchline. Sure, he's making plenty of friends with Cornish accents. Rhys Hayes puts that left boot to it.
He's had a strong game so far, Rhys Hayes, hasn't he? Managed to cover the kicks. He's got a good kicking game. He's also a big running threat. He's a big old man. You can see him stood there next to Harrison Crowe, who's also a big man, and he doesn't look dwarfed at all.
and being able to carry that sort of body mass with the stepping that he does off both feet, particularly that left foot as well. Well, in about 10 minutes' time, Ian Kench, I'm going to ask you for a man of the match, and with the game in the balance, I know that is a very, very difficult decision to make with so many contenders as well. Taron Peacock boxes that high into this cloudy evening sky. Fabulous take over on the left-hand side, right in front of those Cornish supporters. That is a pressure catch with 15 minutes of this final to go and 2 points to find. Craig Williams makes the tackle for Cornwall. Cheshire come again. So much possession for them in this second half. There's Morton. Oh, lovely pass. Nearly puts Morehouse away. He offloads to Hayes, who finds himself there again. Can't put the step on. Just gets around Kevin, but plenty of Cornish defenders to deal with him. Oh, but now Hayes, no sooner have we complimented him on his quality, looks in a bit of trouble on the floor.
I think he's had head-on-head there with Tony Whittle, and Phil Davis rightly stopping it for we need the physios on to assess that one there. Both players going down and looking a little bit wobbly, and both now receiving treatment.
Just walking out a shot there, do my eyes deceive me? Or does Jack Morehouse have a front bun? Yes, he does. He's just talking to the referee. Goodness me. Just look at him there. He's next to the water carrier.
Blue in possession when the whistle went.
It's a bold statement, but the way he's playing, fair play to him. It's he stands out like a sore thumb, but when you're playing like he is, at least it's in a good way for his playing style, but maybe not so much for the haircut.
Crikey. That's one of the best I've seen this season. But he's had a great game, hasn't he, alongside Michael Barlow.
Yeah, two very similar players. Normally the centres would bring different things to the party, but both of them would just shut anything down from Cornwall coming through the midfield, and both like to carry hard and direct, and it works for Cheshire. It does. It's an odd centre combination, but it's worked so far for them today, and I just like the way that those two have shut everything down at source from Cornwall going through the middle.
We saw David Jones there wearing number 19, another Caldy representative. Caldy not having the finest of seasons this year, but obviously plenty of quality amongst their ranks.
Reece Hayes there coming off worse with the collision with Tony Whittle, and Tony Whittle, I think looks like he's gone off for an assessment at HIA to see if he's concussed.
Well, he'll want that carried out as quickly as possible, with only 15 minutes of this final remaining. If there's any part that he can play, I'm sure he'll want to play it. Dickinson picks and goes from the bottom of the scrum. Looks like it could open up. Dummies gets inside the 22. Was Morehouse taken out off the ball there? It won't matter for Cheshire right now. No, here is Morehouse. Sniffs the try line himself. Fabulous cover tackle by Tony Whittle. He's there again. Proper engine room performance. And Jones is in there. Cornwall again hanging on to this lead by their fingernails. Dickinson could be on here now. Real opportunity for Cheshire, perhaps their best of the half so far. Step inside from Christopher Speed. It's still alive and still Cornwall making try-saving tackles. This time Alex Ducker closes it down. Allsop.
Bend back, you don't know you can't. Not from there. No. Hands to ground.
2 metres short here for Cheshire. 2 metres short of taking the lead for the first time in this 2019 Bill Beaumont County Cup final. It's slowed right down, and usually when it gets to this stage it plays into Cornwall's hands, but this looks like a different Cheshire, a Cheshire that are over the line. There are hands on it from Cornwall. Has that been grounded? We had a good view of that. Referee says no. His assistant agrees. This is as close as they've come, but it is not close enough for Cheshire. And the referee will take them back for a scrum. Now, take a look at this, just to the right side of the breakdown. There were hands on it from Cornwall, just trying to slow it down. Oh, what a play that was to get hands underneath it. Try-saving strength. Well, we had a good look at that. Cheshire think they can go to the big screen. I'm not entirely sure they can. And in fact, I know they can't. But let's have a look at it again.
I think it's Brendan Berry, the replacement hooker there, just on the left-hand side of the ruck. You can see he does fantastic work to get his hands under the ball here and stop the try from Cheshire. Absolutely outstanding from the replacement hooker.
That is a stunning play, and the score remains Cornwall 7, Cheshire 5.
I've been really impressed with Phil Davis this game again, Dave. He's, you can hear him talking to the players constantly, telling them what they can and can't do. And when you've got a lot of players that are pushing the boundaries like they have done today, he's been really good at letting them know what they can do and what they can't do. And being in the right position again there to make the call. So it's a big call, and he's in the position straight away to say, no, not grounded, play on. We see they're restarting now with a Cheshire scrum, and it's a big, big moment for these guys.
We really need fantastic temperament to referee finals at this level. Now, what odds on captain Josh Dickinson having a go himself here?
Having complimented Phil Davis, he's now got the unenviable task of working out what's going on in this scrum, because the last half a dozen scrums or so have been variable. They've been twisting. He's going to have to make a call probably again as to which team is infringing and working out which way to go with a penalty maybe.
And at this stage of the game as well, if it's a Cheshire penalty, they will have a very kickable pop at goal to take the lead for the first time. Now, if this scrum goes down again, keep your eye on Taron Peacock, the replacement scrum half. He is in Phil Davies' ear.
Given the way that last scrum went, will Cheshire take a scrum again? Because it looked to me like Cornwall having a little shove at that one like we saw last time. They really loaded up for it. It's a brave call. I love the fact that they're back in this young front row.
Moves his feet, changes his angle, so therefore screen is unbalanced.
Come on, Dan boy. 17 white. Hold your feet. Hold your position.
It's a big test of Jess Thompson as well on being able to transfer from tight to loose. They are alien positions, and he's doing a good job here at the loose head.
And also, we've complimented Phil Davis, but Paul Kimber and Mark Summerhays have given him great support on the flanks. Well, we're going to reset it again. Josh Dickinson had the ball at his feet. He could have gone, but all the time it's eating into the clock.
You can see what Daniel Matthews on the tight head is trying to do. He's trying to shear off away. He's trying to get down that sort of down the loose head side and follow the rest of the front row down there. But he's having a real battle here with Jess Thompson, and it's a one for the purists, but it's a fascinating one to watch.
You're one of those purists, aren't you?
Loving every second.
We reset again. The clock ticks towards 70 minutes. Now it does come out quickly. Dummy and go there from the number 8, the captain. Gets the offload away to Harrison Crowe. We know how he can carry, but it's not to be for him this time. Cheshire agonisingly close. Cornwall defending incredibly narrow, as we'd expect. A pick, a go, closing in again. It was Tom Sanders that time. Cornwall trying to get hands on it, but there's no way of them getting the ball back this time. Cheshire, patient, picking, going. Dickinson in there again. Brendan Barry's there. He waits, he gets some support. Oh, that's a fabulous tackle. Cornwall putting bodies on the line, protecting this 2-point lead. Lung-busting defence. Advantage coming. They don't think they're going to need it. And they're not. Cheshire lead for the first time in the final. It's been a long time coming, but finally it arrives. Patience, perseverance, then points. It's Cornwall 7, Cheshire 10.
Cornwall absolutely desperate here, doing everything they can to stop this Cheshire juggernaut. But eventually they're going to run out of gas because they're 40 men out there. They've defended for 25-30 minutes of this half, and you can see that just running out of gas in the end, and really good patience there from Cheshire, just grinding it out and eventually getting over the line there for the score.
Well, we spoke about the rain. It has started to come down out there. Not particularly heavy. That'll add an extra obstacle for these last 9 minutes or so, as Tom Morton looks to take his personal tally to 7 for the day. He duly obliges. And that's a bit more breathing space now for Cheshire in pursuit of their first county championship since 1998.
I would love to see Cheshire be brave now. Don't just sit on this 5-point lead. Go out there, try and get another score, try and play, even in these conditions. Get out your half, but then try and play.
Are we good to play? Yeah, when you're ready.
And as for Cornwall, they have been absolutely stifled, as you'd expect, in losing a player with the quality of Jack Alton. They've defended incredibly bravely, as Nicholas Alsop has got a bit of cup final cramp there. Gets his calf stretched out, and it's not surprising because he has been so energetic.
Clock's off.
It could be a little bit more than that as well. Ian Kench, this is your 3-minute warning for the player of the match, but who in particular has impressed you today on both sides?
So from Cornwall, you can't look much further than their captain and second row partner Ben Hilton and Tony Whittle. I think they've both just been industrious and I'd say streetwise in what they do. They've got through the tight work. They've been absolute rocks for Cornwall. On the flip side, big ball carries for Cheshire from Harrison Crowe and Josiah Dickinson in the back row. I've been really impressed with the front row that's come on for Cheshire as well. Josh Brown in particular, I thought. I was a little bit nervous for Cheshire as Neil Briggs went off, but Josh Brown has been momentous in what he's done. He's got on the ball, his ball played, his throwing's been good. But there's many standouts, and it's going to be a tough task to pick the man of the match.
Well, particularly with Cornwall on the ball for the first time in what seems an eternity. Now staring down the barrel of a 5-point scoreline that isn't in their favour. 73 minutes on our clock, the same as it is inside the arena here at Twickenham, and they're 30 metres short of the line. The Cornish supporters certainly haven't given up. They're still roaring, as are the Cheshire players, because they've managed to get their hands on the ball again. And look at Jack Morehouse. He's run 30 metres to congratulate the forwards on that good work.
Is he the one on your side?
Yeah, that's Paul's side.
Forward. Clutch. Bind. Set. Blue, go straight to his knee.
Again, Taron Peacock pointed that to the assistant referee. He is sharp and he's switched on.
Loose head to knee, call from the side.
As is the assistant referee.
Interestingly, Neil Briggs is back on the field, replacing Josh Brown, who I thought has been excellent. So just try and get that experience back out there, I think, Cheshire, and see out the game with Neil Briggs.
And what an opportunity here for Cornwall as we approach the final 5 minutes. Maybe we'll put that man of the match decision on ice for a second.
7 blue coming off. Number 7 blue coming off.
Callum Ridgway being replaced for Cheshire. And great news for them, Reese Hayes just coming back onto the pitch. He's passed his HIA and slides into the defensive line.
Complete, mate.
Thank you.
Cornwall have gone like for like with getting their experience back on there. Rob Alloway back after a break, and so we've got both experienced hookers back on to see out the last 5 minutes of this game.
Well, this is a massive throw, and Cheshire throw up Dickinson, but Cornwall manage to secure the ball, but Cheshire have given away the penalty. Oh, and Cheshire are going to be down to 14 for the last few minutes. That is huge. Tom Sanders, after having a great impact off the bench, is going to finish the game in the sin bin. Cornwall have held on with 14. Now they're inside the Cheshire 22. They're 5 points behind.
Back 10, please, guys. Back 10, please.
And Matt Shepherd kicks for the corner. Well, up until 30 seconds ago, Cheshire were the favourites for this championship. I'm not a betting man, but if you are at home, who is your money on? A massive line out here. Cheshire looking for their first county championship since 1998. Cornwall looking to regain the trophy they last won in 2016 against this opposition. Cornwall with another advantage coming. They're 6 metres short. They've got the full width to play with. And Cheshire lying all over the ball. Brendan Berry looking to disrupt.
Come on. Number 6, side entry.
And listen to that Cornwall support. Rings out all across HQ. It feels and sounds like a full house.
No, it isn't. There. Side entry 6.
And Matt Shepherd kicks for the corner once again. Well, what incredible moments.
Yes, number 6.
Turns out this is a final for the ages. Cornwall backing their catch and drive. Both teams have extinguished the flames incredibly well throughout the match, and Cheshire have done it again. They've got hands on the ball, but it's spilt forward. Well, this match simply will not die. And while we set the scrummy in Kent, sorry to have you make this decision with this one in the balance, but who is your Bill Beaumont County Cup final man of the match?
With a game in the balance, it's you always want to pick a player from the winning side, and there's been some huge performances. We've mentioned the centres from Cheshire, but I just think from one second row to another that Tony Whittle, he often goes unsung. He just does so much hard work. He's been at the centre of everything. Has been so good about Cornwall, and if they are to win, it's his work rate and his sort of work ethic, I suppose, that has just led them through, and he just does a lot of things that nobody sees. So he is my man of the match for today.
He's been there, seen it, done it. He made his Cornwall debut in 2013. Will he be leaving Twickenham with another gold medal around his neck? A lot of work to do here for both sides. Cornwall have failed to make the line out stick. They have a scrum here at the other end of the pitch. They really loaded up and tried to impose some dominance. They put some pressure on that Cheshire scrum and won a penalty at the far side, the penalty that led to the situation we find ourselves in here. Both teams down to 14. Interestingly, Matt Shepherd back in at scrum half as well. The man of the match just announced in the stadium, but the Cornwall supporters decided to concentrate on the game. It's gone down. Which way is it going to go? Well, the referee's saying Cornwall are going to have to play it, which they do through Ramakita, who gets stood up well by Tom Morton. And comes back with black and gold hands on it. Brad Howe is back on. He gets backed up. And that's good quick ball. Shepherd's in there. Short ball finds Randlesome. Replacement back rower thunders through. And Howe lines up. He fancies another one.
See Shepherd here thinking about where they want to score as well, with it being a 5-point score. They're working their way towards the post, making that kick as easy as possible if they are to score.
Randlesome again. Ed pass goes back on. We're in 6. Dickinson's hands called off it. Well, they're queuing up here, Cornwall, but they can't get isolated. Jess Thompson with the carry this time. Well, Cheshire really trying to disrupt this ball. It is so narrow from both teams.
It's a clear tactic from Shepherd here. You can see that he's a wise person. He's thinking, let's make this kick as easy as possible. If we're going to go into this one-out rugby, this pick-and-go game, let's stay right next to the post and make that kick as easy as possible to secure the win.
Again, calling them exactly where we're on them. You could throw a blanket over the entire Cornwall 14 here. Every single Cornwall player was in that wider shot. They're losing metres though, and they're going to have to do something at some point. Who will be the first to blink? It won't be Grant Randlesome, so he takes another carry. Shepherd puffs out the cheeks. This must be part of the bigger plan. And now a few attackers for Cornwall just disappear to the left-hand side. It's a maul, here it comes. Cheshire have diffused it again. Someone's lost the scrum cap, the referee keeping patience with this. Oh, an advantage coming for Cornwall. Now do they put some width on it? Well, not really, because there's no one to put it to.
David Jones there in the side from Cheshire. It's a bold call from Cornwall to try and set up a maul. If Cheshire, as they tried to do there, to stick on the ball, force a turnover. But it's obviously a strength for the Cornwall team. Graham Dorr, the coach, I know he spends hours and hours and hours on drilling maul procedure, so it's a brave call for them to set it up, but Cheshire, they're giving away the penalty, and they're going for the corner and going for that maul again, it looks like here, with Shepherd kicking to the touch.
Well, fortune favours the brave. The clock is red. So much narrative. Cheshire trailed for so long. Cornwall heroic with 14 men.
We had 10 minutes in the first half of last play.
Will Cheshire be brave? They've lost their caller, Ben Hilton. They've lost their captain, Cornwall. So Whittle has taken over the call-in. Will Cheshire be brave and gamble and try and steal in the air, or are they going to go to the defence on the floor, which they've done for the last 2 line-outs? It looks like Cheshire staying down and going for the blitz approach.
Well, it's worked for them for 80 minutes. Plus stoppages. This game now approaching 90 minutes in total. Well taken by George Jones. Cornwall looked to set, but Cheshire looked to spoil. Jack Collister's in there. Cornwall have lost the ball. Cheshire celebrating like they've won it. Oh, instead it's going to be a yellow card, and Cheshire will finish with 13 players on the pitch.
Phil Davis, the picture he sees there is Collister. The last 2 mauls that Cornwall have set up, he's come in the side, trying to get on the ball. Some referees might get away with it, but Phil Davis has picked that one up, and twice in the side, twice diffusing the maul illegally, and he's going to see no more part in today's final.
Drama of the highest order.
If you just watch the black scrum out here, starts legally, changes the bind, which he can't do, tries to change the binding and then collapses it, trying to make sure he's staying on that ball, and a clear penalty there for Phil Davis to award.
Well, Matt Shepherd, I don't know if you picked it up on the referee's mic, told him to get up and go. And now with Collister missing, will Cornwall fancy a big shove on this scrum?
There's been huge momentum shifts in these scrums all day today, so this is absolutely crucial. Will the experience of Craig Williams and Jess Thompson see them through?
We've got heads on shoulders this side.
We've got Jack Morehouse packing down in the scrum here for Cheshire.
Bind.
Reset. It's misty.
Okay.
Out of shot, Dave, you can see we've got
Sort it out now. Sort it out now.
Alex Ducker, the real danger threat. He's just stood off the pitch actually, so if there's any penalties, if there's any free kicks, watch out for a quick crossfield kick to him. He is in absolutely acres of space. I'm not sure whether Cheshire have spotted him out there on the wing.
And Phil Davis, who complimented him on his temperament throughout this match, but he's really started to lose patience with the front rowers. The clock has been in the red for over 4 minutes. And every time the whistle goes, look, watch Matt Shepherd.
Ducker's still unmarked here on the left wing, so it's clearly something Shepherd's noticed. And talk about fortune favours the brave. You don't get braver than going for a crossfield kick to win in the red time.
Other than we're in the same place we always were. Crouch!
Desperate attempts for Cheshire to keep this energy high. When the ball eventually does go into the scrum, they're going to come under immense scrutiny.
Paul, what do you got?
I got 16 and 25 going head to head. When they just both fold in. They're both folding in.
It's both sides. No, I've got someone here.
Josiah Dickinson there pleading with Phil Davis to come across and have a look at what's happening on his loose head side against Craig Williams. But again, Phil Davis doing the right thing, trusting his AR, making sure that they're working as a team of three to really solve what's going on at scrum time.
Nick Alsop, he's the cheerleader for Cheshire. Knows he needs one last effort from his forwards.
Find you back. 1, 2. Don't look at me. Get on with it.
This can only benefit Cornwall. They've got to be tired, but this break, this period of just resetting the scrum, it gives them extra energy, it gives them a bit of oxygen to try and get across the line and finish with a win.
Matt Shepherd went quickly. He's been gagging to do that for about 5 minutes. There's not a great deal that Phil Davis can do here. But with the clock ticking, if it carries on, then Cheshire might end the match with 15 on the park again.
It wasn't on the 5. Crouch!
Well, Nick Alsop revs the troops up one more time. They're still packing down with Jack Morehouse in the flanks. Cornwall have gone forward. Referee saying he wants the ball away, so Matt Shepherd has to put his hands on it. Ramakita gets through 1, gets through 2, and has he won it for Trelawney's Army? It's taken them 7 minutes of stoppage time. They've had to come from behind. They've defended for their lives with 14 men. But now Cornwall have the kick to win the county championship for the first time since 2016.
It's been it for a long one.
Strong carry there from Ramakita, barging through. We talked about that midfield axis for Cheshire, and at the time when it's most crucial, they miss the tackle, and it's a really strong finish there. Most importantly, not far away from the post, making this kick as easy as possible. But under this pressure, Shepherd looks like to have stepped up, and the big game player can win it for Cornwall.
He doesn't need to.
Well, Matt Shepherd once again lives up to his name. His reputation at this level, well, he will go down in history in a Cornwall jersey. This, the kick to win it for Trelawney's Army. 88 minutes on the clock. It's the first time he's had the ball on the tee in this final. Cheshire try and charge it down. There's plenty of height on it. It splits the uprights, and Cornwall are the county champions. Shepherd gets swamped by teammates. Cheshire bodies are strewn on the Twickenham turf. They have given it everything and been undone at the bitter end. And a cagey affair where defences were on top, where physicality was paramount, is settled eventually by that man. Full time here at Twickenham. Cornwall 14, Cheshire 12, in a game that had a little bit of everything. It's the Cornish who will be travelling south with stories, memories, but most importantly for them, the Bill Beaumont Trophy.
Yeah, the big game experience, the experience they've had of being here for the last 6 years really showed there. The way they handled themselves with 14 men, taking as much time to rest as they could, resetting those scrums, and those players that we talked about that had the big game experience coming to the fore. Craig Williams locking down the scrum, Matt Shepherd using his experience to make sure that he's hitting the right lines and finishing with that kick there. You can see that it just means so much to the Cornishmen, and I'm just super impressed with how they've gone about handling playing with 14 men in that second half.
Isn't it incredible? Something we've complimented Cheshire on throughout the game is the way the centre partnership have shut everything down. Eventually, it was a first receiver try that won it for the Cornish.
Yeah, Ramakita was lined up for it as well, and on every single reset you could see that was the play that was coming. He was the man, he was going to be the ball carrier. And yet, like we spoke about, those iron gates of the Cheshire midfield, when it counts, it just broke down, and ultimately it's cost them the game.
Well, let's take it back to the very start. This was the opening score in a cagey first half. Great footwork there from Richard Kevin to set the defenders, and Alex Ducker does not need a second invitation. Cheshire took their time, as you can see on the clock, 47 minutes without a score. But Tom Morton got over the whitewash in the end, and he had a good game, didn't he? Both Cheshire halfbacks were impressive.
Yeah, I was really impressed with both Morton and Allsop. They were fantastic in the way they pulled the strings, real wise heads. This was at the end of, if we remember, sort of a passage of phase for about 7 or 8 phases for Cheshire, and the way they finished it off was sublime, with all the boys playing and putting their hands on the ball.
Well, Cornwall defended their own try line, their own 22, with aplomb throughout, but eventually it's unsustainable, isn't it? You cannot just defend and defend and defend. But before we talk about that, this was the winning moment. Great angle, but 3 missed tackles on Ramakita.
Yeah, the Cheshire defence there was extraordinarily wide for a play that was so obvious to come, and he actually went down the 10 channel. You'd be expecting your centres to get up and shut that down at that point of the game and just tighten up and make sure that no one comes through the middle.
But so difficult to be critical at the end of a real war. Over 90 minutes in total. Drama at the end of both halves as well.
I don't think the fans will believe in wanting in more. This game has had it all. It's had free-flowing rugby, it's had tight rugby, it's had red cards, it's had yellow cards. It's been an absolute showpiece event of counter rugby, and in the end the spoils had to go to someone, and the experience of Cornwall showed through.
Well, Cheshire will be making their way up those famous steps to receive the respect from the Cornwall supporters and their silver medals as this year's runners-up. But just a quick word on the man of the match. You gave it to Tony Whittle in the end, because ultimately this was a game that was decided by the engine room.
Yeah, I mean, Josiah Dickinson there leading Cheshire up was also outstanding for the leading of his team, and he grew into the game carrying strong. But I just think it's sometimes nice to reward the players that you don't see what they do, and we spoke about some of the tight work that the Cornwall lot were doing, and Tony Whittle, he complements Ben Hilton so well. He just does the hard yards that enables the Cornish backline to shine, and I was just really impressed with everything that he did today.
Bill Beaumont up there handing out the silver medals. Proud day for their family, with Josh spearheading England's victory over the Barbarians in a very different type of thriller earlier today on this Twickenham turf. But Rhys Hayes receiving his medal. Great game he had. So much quality in this Cheshire side. A lot of character as well. That's 4 county games that they've played this season. 3 of them have been decided by 1 point, 1 point, 2 points. They get themselves in a battle. They can usually come out on the right side, but it just wasn't to be for them today.
there's some really young heads in this Cheshire team as well that's only going to benefit them moving forwards, and you just get excited actually about these guys wanting to come out and play next year. I mean, they've been the likes of Yorkshire this year, so by no means a poor season for these guys, and just pipped at the end there by Cornwall.
Well, Cornwall will be led up by Jess Thompson. Gets the hug from the Dame. And looking back at a game like this that was ultimately decided in the manner that it was, how important was that turnover in the 22 from the man who's leading the Cornish up?
Yeah, absolutely crucial, but I also think in shot is the probably one of the most crucial participants today is that crowd that's travelled all the way up from Cornwall. We talked about a few pivotal moments, maybe an overthrow by the Cheshire line out, and we see big moments there at the end right in front of the Cornish crowd. And having played in front of the Trelawney Army, it is incredibly hard to ignore the noise they make, and they definitely outnumbered the Cheshire fans today, so they played a huge role in the victory for the Cornishmen today.
There's Rob Ellaway receiving his medal. Jack Simmons and John Dorr. Well, he's got a smile on his face. There was a time where I thought that mistake where he quite simply mistimed the pass could really cost the Cornish. And Jack Alton there, well, a penny for his thoughts.
Yeah, he had a really strong first half, didn't he? And if he'd stayed on, the game probably would have been a completely different picture. But I think he's probably just relieved that he hasn't let his team down, and that his teammates have seen it through for him. And his mistake wasn't costly in the end for Cornish rugby.
Well, 6 finals in 7 years. The captain, Ben Hilton, talked about creating a legacy. I wonder if after today he will consider that legacy to be complete. This is his second row partner who was given the man of the match. But in the 7th Twickenham final, the captain was gargantuan once again.
At 37 years of age, he certainly didn't show it today, did he? He was monumental alongside Whitland's second row, and thoroughly deserves lifting this trophy, so that's a fantastic achievement by him.
Well, Trelawney's Army have been treated to a classic. Once again, the Bill Beaumont County champions are Cornwall. Well, these are the moments, these are the memories that will stay with the players, the coaches and the supporters for a long time. Matt Shepherd's thrown the lid off the cup, but I think when you've lifted it as many times as he has, then you deserve a little bit of leeway. Ian Kench, you've played on this pitch and been in this situation a few times as a winner and a loser. What are the differences in emotion? And now you can look back at it with maybe rose-tinted spectacles, certainly fond memories. Do you look back on the defeats fondly at all? Or is this going to be a tough one for Cheshire to deal with over the years?
The experience of playing here was fantastic, but if I'm honest, reflecting back, I've erased those games from the memory, and you just tell yourself how good you were when you won. So something the Cheshire team will do, I'm sure, is reflect. They'll learn from it and they'll become more experienced, but actually the experience of losing, they'll try and erase fast from the memory, whereas Cornwall, many of these boys will just add it to the memory bank, and they've certainly earned their just desserts today.
Well, it's been a pleasure to share this with you today, and thank you for joining us at home today. I'm sure the bus trip back to Cornwall will be a moment of celebration from the moment they leave Twickenham. Another fantastic victory for the Cornish, but I have no doubts at all that Cheshire will be back. They mean business, but they've got 12 months to stew, 12 months to prepare, and 12 months to dream of lifting that Bill Beaumont trophy. From all of us here in Twickenham, we look forward to you joining us in 12 months' time. Until then, goodbye.